This city was once protected. There was mercy, there was provision, there was ease. Then, one day, the sin was no longer kept hidden. It was made into honor. It was made the pride of their gatherings. A prophet stood and said, "Fear Allah." The people laughed. Night came. Doors were shut. And the sky delivered its verdict. By morning, the earth was no longer where it had been.
This story is not just about destruction. It is about the moment when a person becomes convinced that punishment will never come. This world had reached this point once before. There were people then too. There were homes, there were children, and a servant of Allah stood in their midst for years, for decades, giving his entire life, but no one would listen.
Yet he rose every day and tried again every day.
This is the story of that prophet and of that people who did not want to listen. These people were not left empty-handed. They had everything. Allah had given them land, water, crops, and the greatest blessing of all, Allah gave them a prophet, upright, living, dwelling among them, speaking their own language. Lut, peace be upon him, believed in Ibrahim, peace be upon him, and Allah sent him toward this settlement, so that he could show the people the straight path. This blessing was not small, but this people did not value this blessing.
The Quran stated one thing. Prophet Lut, peace be upon him, said to his people,
أتأتون الفاحشة ما سبقكم بها من أحد من العالمين.
Do you commit such an obscene act that no one in the world before you had ever committed?
This was not an ordinary evil. This was a new sin, a boundary that humanity had never crossed in its entire history. And this people was crossing that boundary with open eyes.
First, one thing happens, very small. In the darkness, no one watches, or if they see, they look away. Then that thing becomes a source of pride. This people was the same way. It is recorded that these people mistreated travelers, robbing them, causing them harm, humiliating them. This had become their habit, and behind this habit, another evil, deeper, was growing.
Prophet Lut, peace be upon him, lived among them. He knew them, not strangers. He spoke their language.
Have you heard the news from the gate?
He witnessed their actions.
But what can we do?
Every day, for years, and every day, rising in the morning, he would go out carrying his Lord's command, and he would say,
إنكم لتأتون الرجال شهوة من دون النساء.
You go toward men with desire, leaving women behind. This was no metaphor. This was no figure of speech. This was no general advice. These were direct, clear, explicit words.
The Prophet's
They
warnings are
gave
for the
their
weak.
answer,
We stand defiant.
But in the answer, there
Your
was
words mean
no
nothing to us.
argument, no
Your warning is
thought,
dismissed.
no
We have-
concern.
Look at the Prophet
Their
over there.
answer
He
was
speaks of doom,
only
but we thrive.
arrogance, only
This
mockery.
man has been saying the same thing for years.
If Allah truly found this so wrong, right, something would have happened by now.
This is the moment when a sin becomes so old that it begins to feel like truth and then becomes conviction. This is the thinking that exists in every people on the verge of drowning. The delay of punishment was not Allah's approval. It was Allah's respite. But respite does not last forever. And then, that matter. In the home of Prophet Lut, peace be upon him, was his own wife. The Qur'an delivered its direct judgment upon her.
ضرب الله مثلا للذين كفروا امرأة نوح وامرأة لوط.
Allah gives the example for those who disbelieved, the wife of Nuh and the wife of Lut. These two were in the homes of two prophets.
And both were against them. It is recorded in historical accounts, and Allah knows best, that the wife of Lut would inform the people. Whenever any traveler came to the home of Lut, she would somehow inform the people. Inside the home, an enemy, a prophet, was not safe.
In this settlement, not everyone thought alike. Some there were who sinned openly, without shame, without fear, at night, by day. Some there were who watched and stayed silent. They knew it was wrong, but they did not have the courage to speak. Or they thought, what difference will our speaking make? And some, very few, were those who stood with Lut, peace be upon him. The Quran informs us, in the home of Lut, only one believer remained. Everyone else was either in sin or in silence. And in the sight of Allah, silence too is counted in the reckoning. Then came that time when Allah's decision has been made. Angels first went to Ibrahim, peace be upon him, in human form, like travelers, bearing glad tidings. And Ibrahim, peace be upon him, placed food before them, a roasted calf. But they did not reach toward the food. Ibrahim noticed. And then the angels revealed who they were and where they were going. They were heading toward the people of Lut, peace be upon him, carrying punishment.
فلما ذهب عن إبراهيم الرو وجاءته البشرى يجادلون في قوم لوط.
When the fear left Ibrahim and the glad tidings reached him, he began to plead concerning the people of Lut. He tried with the angels. For him, the angels stated, Allah's decision has been made. It will not change now. Some decisions, even love cannot stop. Some decisions, even supplication cannot change. When the time has passed, the angels departed. They were in human form, young, handsome. They appeared to be travelers. And Lut, peace be upon him, when he saw them, his heart became heavy.
ساء بهم ودق بهم ذرعا.
His heart became constricted. He became anxious. He became distressed. He knew no traveler is safe in this settlement. He knew this people would not restrain itself. He knew tonight will be difficult. But they were angels.
Think.
Just once, one ask about this moment. A prophet has taken travelers into his home. Inside, the door is closed. Night is falling, and he knows the people will find out. What will he do? Who will help him? There is no one, no friend in the lane.
هذا يوم عصيب.
This is a distressful day. 3 words, that is all, was years of loneliness, years of pain. The heart of a prophet has been gathered into these 3 words.
The news spread. The people learned there were travelers in the home of Lut, young men, and they set out, not slowly, not with shame, without stopping. They walked with joy, as though it were a festival. as though it were an occasion for celebration. To see this is that sight which stops the heart, a people walking toward its own destruction, itself on its own feet.
We have been forbidden Lut again and again. Today we will not listen again.
That shame had abandoned. When a people's sense of shame dies, they run toward their own destruction themselves. No one stops them. No one pushes them.
Prophet Lut, peace be upon him, stood at the door. He was alone. Inside the home, guests. Outside, the people, and Lut, peace be upon him, spoke to them. He reasoned with them. He tried to stop them.
These are my daughters. They are pure for you. Fear Allah and do not disgrace my guests.
This was a prophet's final attempt. He named his daughters. He named Allah. He tried to awaken their shame. The people heard and still moved forward.
You know full well we have no interest in your daughters. And you know what we want.
These are those words that the Quran has preserved so that we may understand how far this people had gone. And then a voice came from inside.
Ya Lut, inna rusulu rabbika lan yasilu ilayk.
O Lut, we are the messengers of your Lord. These people cannot reach you.
Lut, peace be upon him, who had been standing alone for hours, who had been fighting alone for years. At that moment, he learned he had never been alone. The angels turned their attention toward the people,
وَلَقَدْ رَاوَدُوهُ عَنْ ضَيْفِهِ فَطَمَسْنَا أَعْيُنَهُمْ.
and their eyes were blinded. They intended evil toward his guests, so we erased their sight. They were groping in the darkness, voices coming from the crowd, but they could no longer see anything, and they did not know they were no longer capable of anything. The angels gave their command to Lut, peace be upon him.
فَأَسْرِ بِأَهْلِكَ بِقِطْعٍ مِّنَ اللَّيْلِ وَلَا يَلْتَفَتْ مِنْكُمْ أَحَدٌ.
रात के एक हिस्से में अपने घर वालों को लेकर निकल जाओ और तुम में से कोई पीछे ना देखे.
And let none among you look back. This was all the command. And there was one more thing that the angels had said. The wife of Lut, peace be upon him, will not go with him. The Quran has preserved it. Allah had made his decision. She was among those upon whom the punishment was to come. A prophet, leaving his wife behind, departing into the darkness of night. Prophet Lut, peace be upon him, was at the front. With him, some people. Few, very few. Behind was that settlement, those homes. That blinded people was still groping in darkness, still not understanding what was about to happen. And somewhere behind, there was a woman. The angels had said, "Get far away before morning," and they kept walking in the darkness of night.
إِنَّا مُنزِلُونَ عَلَى أَهْلِ هَذِهِ الْقَرْيَةِ رِجْزًا مِّنَ السَّمَاءِ.
We are about to send down upon the people of this settlement a punishment from the sky. From the sky. Morning was coming. Then, that happened, which had never happened before.
فَلَمَّا جَاءَ أَمْرُنَا جَعَلْنَا عَالِيَهَا سَافِلَهَا.
When our command came, we turned that settlement upside down. What was above became below. The earth rose upward, then it came straight down, and then from above, stones, and we rained upon them stones, layer upon layer, one after another. It is in Surah Al-Hijr. Every stone bore a mark, every stone, for one specific person. There was no error. There was no excess. Not one fell upon an innocent person. Everything, the final description. Completely exact, completely perfect. They perhaps knew only one moment, then nothing. The Quran did not give details. It only stated the command. No storm, no fire, no lightning. There was one command, and the earth obeyed. And that woman, who had walked along but was not present in heart, the Quran says she too was among those upon whom the punishment came. It is recorded, and Allah knows best, that she looked back once, just once, and she stopped right there. Looking back was just one small movement, but that movement was the final testimony of a heart that was never really with them at all. Morning came. Prophet Lut, peace be upon him, who had walked through the night, stopped. He did not turn back. The command was, do not look back. But his steps stopped. After a night of walking with a prophet, with an open sky and silence. That settlement, that was his life, that was his home, that was the work of his years. Those people, gone. Everything, nothing. The Quran says a sign was left.
وَتَرَكْنَا فِيهَا آيَةً لِلَّذِينَ يَخَافُونَ الْعَذَابَ الْأَلِيمَ.
So that people may see. The earth swallowed and left a sign, so that coming generations may see, so that they may think, so that they may understand. So now, a direct question must be asked of you. Who are you at this moment among these three people? And if you have not answered yet, then perhaps your answer has already been found. Then is there anyone who will think?
If you like this Quranic story, then like the video and subscribe the channel. And share it with your friends and relatives.
And comment on what story you want to hear in the next video. Until then, take care of yourself and remember Qul Momain in your prayers.